mean, believe it or not, this is my first author interview. So
Stop it.
it is like I've done like the magazine inserts, but I'm talking about like this direct, the one-on-one like connection like this. This is my first one. No one has ever reached out to me previously about it.
Oh my goodness. See, and that's really, for starters, I feel honored. Okay, let's start there. Hearing the stories of authors that maybe are just 10 books in the game or their first book in the game, like
Right.
that's what I want to hear from. And I think that's who readers want to hear from more as well. Oh, okay, so just to get started off, I'm gonna have you start by just introducing yourself and telling us all about you.
Well, my name is Brianna Blackwell Miller, but I go under the pen name Brianna Nicole Blackwell. I am from Alabama, born and raised, and I currently still reside here as well. I published my first book in 2020, I want to say. That's a little hazy sometimes, I'm sorry. But
Okay.
2020, and I've penned 4 books, and I've collabed with 1 short story collection so far. So, I call myself sort of like the accidental writer because, I've always loved urban fiction and I was a reader, still is a reader. And, it's something that I wanted to do for years, but I just said, maybe I can do it. And then I kept talking myself out of it. But yeah, I started writing, wrote the first book, published it, self-published it, and then it went off from there. And now I'm proud to say that I am, an author that wants to keep doing. Now I'm proud to say that I am, an author that wants to keep doing this and hopefully keep releasing great novels for many years to
Absolutely,
come.
absolutely. And I'm glad you actually mentioned that because that was going to be one of my questions was, did you self-publish or did you go the traditional publishing route and why?
Yeah, I went through the self-published route like from day one because my sister, Ashley, she was published under someone. And, I was able to see a lot of what was going on as far as how it was for her. And then I just didn't realize I didn't know anything about that part of the world, like the writing world. So, being able to kind of live through her, I was able to automatically know that I didn't want to go that route.
Yeah,
So yeah, the
yeah.
goal was, for me to just have like complete creative control. And
Mhm.
I mean that was just something that I wanted. And I'm not saying that all publishers don't allow that or they interfere with that, but it was just a personal preference. We'll just say that.
Absolutely, and I completely understand that. Like you said, I think we all have seen some of those horror stories play out, in the past
Right.
few years. So you really just have to do what works for you. Shout out to the people that, they hit it off with their publisher the first time, and
Mhm.
shout out to them. But
Right.
we've seen some things.
Right. Yeah.
All right. And how do you find the time to write with your busy schedule?
It's difficult. I'm not going to lie. Like, okay, for instance, I told myself that I want my next book to come out on June 22nd. And here it is, nearly, a month until, and I'm not even halfway done with the book, to be honest. And I mean, it's really difficult, but I try to at least tell myself, okay, maybe I can carve out like 30 minutes to an hour because, every word counts. So,
Right.
I mean, I don't have to just say, well, let me just write 5,000 today or 10,000 tomorrow. So it's all about just trying to prioritize. And I do have a lot on my plate, from the the businesses that I have to even being in grad school. Like, so it's just a lot going on, but I just try to tell myself, I can try. But again, being self-published, I don't have to worry about deadlines. So but
Absolutely.
it's more so just an internal deadline that I have with myself.
Mhm.
But,
Yeah.
you know yeah.
And we put that pressure on ourselves too. We're like, we got to make this happen. Like we run this circus, so we have to make
Right.
sure that it turns out
Yeah.
exactly how we want it to.
Right. And sometimes, it's important not to be so hard on yourself because when
Mhm.
you are hard on yourself, sometimes it really messes with your creativity. So I just told myself, I want to finish this book and have it out this summer sometime, but I don't want to rush it because it will reflect in my actual work.
Absolutely, and I'm glad that you said that too because I think that's something. when you're first putting out your first book, you do put an immense amount of pressure on yourself. And I think
Right.
maybe not enough authors are transparent in that.
Right. Mhm.
Yeah, that pressure you put on yourself really can make or break you in the beginning. Like, you
Yeah,
have
it
to
can.
be mentally prepared.
Right.
For you, what is the most difficult part of writing a book?
Oh, the most difficult part would definitely be just finishing. Like, I'm good when it comes to the first couple of chapters, but when it comes to just finding out, at what point do I want to end this, I
Mm-hmm.
found that to be harder because, I mean, here we are now with this book that I'm working on. It was a breeze to go through these first 10K words, but now I'm just stuck. And then it's just so I would say sort of like the middle to end, and the ending is the hardest part for me, and when to actually end it. Um, but yeah, that's the hardest part. And sometimes it's hard for me because I don't outline. I know a lot of authors are sticklers for outlining,
Mm-hmm.
but I just let the creativity flow and that's let the story take me where it takes me.
Absolutely. And I've heard people say that too. I used to try that and it didn't work for me. I had to become an outline person. I just, my
Right.
mind all over the place. But, you have to do the process that works best for you. A lot of the times too, just letting those juices flow, you'll be surprised what you come up with. And you'll be like, I probably
Yeah.
wouldn't have written that down if I did do an outline. When did you first realize you wanted to become a writer?
It's it's hard to say because sometimes I did do like a TikTok one time where I went back and I actually looked at all the tweets that I made about wanting to become an author and wanting to write a book. So I
Mhm.
would probably say once I actually started really, really loving urban fiction. So it probably was about the time that I was 17, 18. Um, and I just told myself it was more so just a challenge to myself, like, can I do this? Do I want to do this? And so when it was like 2020, the world was in shambles. And I just told myself, like, let me try this.
Right.
And because I had started books and then stopped, but then I was also going through a bout of depression, and I suffer from, depression. And it's more so seasonal. Certain
Yeah.
things in life happens and situational. So I told myself, I sat down, I think it was May or June of 2020. And I was just like, okay, let me see if I can actually do this. So, okay, so I started, stopped, and then I think it was 2022. Yeah, 2022. I really just sat down and I said, okay, let me try this again.
Mhm.
And then it just went off from there. But I would definitely say when I actually thought about it at first, becoming an author, it was probably my late teens. But it took a
Okay.
little longer to make it happen.
Well, because life starts lifing, right?
Right. Yeah.
We make all the plans in the world. 2020 was a hard year, literally for everyone. 2021 wasn't much easier.
Right.
So I definitely get what you mean with that, and I appreciate your transparency in saying, about your seasonal depression, because for a while, like for some years, it took about 10 years of me suffering with that as well. So that is no joke, especially as a creative, as a writer.
Right.
um it definitely is something. And I think a lot of times too, when we hear authors discuss their journeys and things, it sounds like, flowers and rose petals, and I get up and have my morning cup of tea every morning. And
Hmm.
we just don't hear that other side of things. So I do appreciate you being transparent in that. What important advice would you give a first time author?
The most important piece of advice that I could give, and I say this, as a person that is self published, but it really applies to everyone, is to write what you want to write. Don't try to fit into the norms of urban fiction, and I'm not trying to say anything about people who do this, but sometimes you have to think outside of the box. And sometimes you can't write about drug dealers or you can't write about side chicks, you have to write what you want to write. And if people like it, they like it. You're going to have some people that love it, but just write what you want to write. Don't try to fit into the norm because let me tell you, like I started looking at my books and comparing and I'm like, okay, well, it seems like the people that write about this get more clout or get more,
Mm-hmm.
more attention, popularity, but it's not something that I'm comfortable with writing about. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I'll put a drug dealer in there, yeah, but I mean, I'm not gonna say that I'm from the suburbs or anything like that because I am from the hood, but it's not like, I really know the life enough to even write about it or have been exposed to it enough to even write about it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I would rather write what's comfortable for me to write than to try to write something that I have no idea about and have to end up looking crazy. And the readers are like, what the hell is she talking about? So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, just write what you want to write. Whatever you feel like you want to write, just write it. And the second thing would be to basically don't worry about perfecting it when you're writing it because that slows you down. But just write and then go back and fix whatever you need to fix. So, yeah.
I feel like that is some good advice because I think we all have studied those charts of like, okay, I see this author consistently hitting like the top 100 in this category, this genre,
Right.
Amazon. You start to investigate, like, okay, what is it that I'm missing? What is it that I'm not doing? And I
Hmm.
think that's a normal thing to do when you're trying to improve your craft instead of just throwing pasta at the wall and hoping something sticks. We put way too much work and finances into our books to do that. So
Right.
it's so easy to fall into that. Well, maybe I should add this or that. But like you said, you have to write from experience. If you have to do a little research on, this illness or that, that's one thing. But I don't recommend either anyone writing about a life they've never lived.
Right.
Then so you said you're in, is it grad school or undergraduate?
It's grad school. I'm pursuing my
Grad
MBA.
school. Oh, congratulations.
Thank
So
you.
you're juggling school. You
Hmm.
are a multi-business owner, ma'am. Like you have it going on.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot to handle because I just started with my staffing agency and doing that, and then I still have Unchained Connections, which is a prison outreach service, and then I have BriAsh Media with my sister. It's a publishing company, so I'm actually a publisher as well, and we have 5 authors under us, and we just got some new submissions this week, so trying to juggle that and get everybody on board. Um, and it's a lot. And
Okay.
I'm also a content creator. I have True Crime Unlocked and we're popular on TikTok. But it's basically, of course, I talk about true crime because I'm really obsessed with that.
Mhm.
So, and I really want to kind of scale that and get my website started and also do a podcast. So it's a lot that I'm managing, but again, it's also a coping mechanism for just some of the things that I've gone through, and it helps me get through the depression and the anxiety and all of that. So it helps.
I completely understand. Now, for your staffing agency, tell us more about that specifically, like the name of it, where they can find you.
Yeah, so Brittany Staffing, we are a staffing company that helps with recruiting, career services, and I also offer virtual assistance to businesses. The website is just Brini, BRINI staffing.com. And the name kind of plays on, my actual name, Brianna Nicole. So that's pretty much where I got it from. And yeah, so we just launched about a week ago, and I'm just excited to connect with businesses and also job seekers, because I've worked remotely for the last 10, 12 years. So I know how the demand for remote jobs have come up. And there are also a lot of companies that are shifting to the remote work field. So I just want to help people. And with this business, I'm able to help not only just consumers, but like I said, also businesses as well. So it's a double whammy and it's rewarding as well. So yeah.
Absolutely. You definitely, I looked at the website and I said she has this very well laid out. I love the design of the
Thank
website.
you.
Yeah, I saw like, okay. I saw the listings, I saw the things for like the virtual assistant. From there, I went to the other, I believe the other website, the Unchained Connections. Can you just tell us like about what your mission is and what empowered you to want to take on, something as beautiful as that?
Well, it's no secret that I am a prison wife. My husband and I, we um we met through a pen pal service. And so, it was just like an opportunity there for me, to connect because he wanted me to sort of help, some of his friends in there find someone. So, I'm like, okay, let's see. So it started off simple with me just posting guys in some of the pen pal groups. But then I'm like, okay, what if I could be like write a prisoner or meet an inmate? What if it could be scaled larger than just Facebook groups? So it's been that way. I've been doing this for close to a year in the terms of just doing the groups. Now I just started my website recently, but it's been very rewarding. I've had people send me pictures, women send me pictures of them and their guys in there. And it was one lady that reached out and said that she was marrying her pen pal that she met off of my site. So I'm like, wow, that's amazing, to be able to connect the relationships. And I feel like men in prison, I mean, yeah, they've committed a crime, some of them, but we're not going to go there. Some of them have committed a crime, but that doesn't mean that they're not deserving of some access to the outside world, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And that's just like with my husband, the prison that he's in federal prison. So they lock down very often, but he always tell me that, I'm just his piece, because he can kind of tap into something other than being behind walls. So,
Mm-hmm. And
yeah.
that's beautiful. It definitely
Yeah.
is beautiful. I had looked at the website. Um, I was like, this is really amazing because I think that is I think it's something that people don't consider enough. I think as
Right.
society, we do judge people a lot, and we're like, "Oh, they committed
Absolutely.
a crime. Do your time." But I know a lot of people that went drinking and driving, didn't get to an accident, so that's why they're not behind bars. I know plenty of people that done boosted, and that's why
Right.
they're not behind bars. Everybody done did a little bit of something, so
Yeah,
it's
and there
like,
are a lot of criminals out there that they've been lucky enough to not get caught. But that doesn't mean
mhm,
you know, that everybody in prison is just, "Oh my god, they're horrible," and everybody out here, "Oh my god, we're innocent." That doesn't mean that. So it's just, life happens, and I'm not here to judge anyone. My husband isn't in prison for a violent crime or anything like that. So, I mean, it is what it is, and I'm happy in my marriage, and, if anybody finds someone on my website, I'm happy for them too. It is what it is.
and that is beautiful. Now, I know you mentioned the websites for those. Just out of curiosity, like, do you have like that QR code or the link in the back of your books too, just in case, like, if a reader gets inspired by one of your love stories or something you done written, and they're like, I want to go find me a boo. Is it in the back of there as well?
Um, well, the book that I wrote, Ain't No Switching Up, A Prison Love Tale, is loosely based off of my husband and I. But when I published that book, I hadn't created the website just yet. But I do promote it. I do have my own social media links in the back of the book, and I promote Unchained Connections a lot. So hopefully, they'll be able to see it. But unfortunately, I don't have it in the back of my books because I sort of separate my other
Mhm.
businesses from my author books. So yeah, but it's unchainedconnections.com. So if anyone is interested.
What is something that you wish your readers knew about you that they might not?
That's a hard question. Um, well, I'm sure a lot of them didn't know that I don't outline. But another thing is that with my titles, I'd simply like to reference songs in them, or you like not reference, but okay, for instance, Never Meant to Hurt You is the title is based off of Life Jennings' I'll Always Love You. And then Refuse to Let You Go. the title is, I kind of got it when I was listening to The Temptations, Ain't Too Proud to Beg. So I kind of do it like that. That's how I choose my titles. And my latest book, Trifling Entanglements, I got that from August Alsina, Entanglements, that song that he did with Rick Ross. So, I kind of think about it, think about songs that I love or I listen to, and that's sort of how I come up with the titles.
You've listed a few places that you are. You said, I know you're on Facebook for sure. Give us a shout out on what social media sites we can find you on and your handle name.
Okay, I'm on everything. Okay, so Facebook, my like page is Brianna Nicole Blackwell. My Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok is Miss Bree 256, and that's MSBRI 256. And then, of course, unchainedconnections.com, BrittanyStaffing.com. And I mentioned the TikTok that I have for True Crime Unlocked. So, True Crime Unlocked is on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. So, if you search it, it'll be the first thing that comes up. It's a lot. I do a lot. So, it's hard to keep up with all the links.
No, no, no. I think it's a great thing. I love
Mhm.
it, honestly, when I find authors having several different platforms of social media because it makes it easier as a reader to, be able to reach out. I
Mhm.
know for certain I saw your books being promoted for about 2, 3 weeks. And I was like,
Mhm.
okay, let me add it to my my TBR. It was that the Ain't No Switching Up book. I saw the
Mhm.
cover and it got my attention. I'm not going to lie. It was the cover that did it because I was like, all right, like I love
Mhm.
seeing thick women on book covers. I feel like with AI, it is so hard to create thicker women. I think
Yeah.
AI a lot of times wants to toss out these super bone skin women, and you're like, that's not a reflection of the story I'm trying to capture.
Right. Yeah, and
Yes.
for my covers, my graphics, my sister Ashley Tiara is her pen name. She has books as well. But Ashley Blackwell is her name. So she does all of my graphic design work. So she's available for hire. So I just want to give her a quick shout out as well. But she does all of my covers, of course.
Well, you know what? Maybe that's who I need to be speaking with next because
Yeah, definitely.
I absolutely love it. Tell your sister, to shoot me a message. I don't want to go stalking her.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll tell her to message you. But yeah, she's amazing. My sister, my best friend, my only friend, my business partner. So yeah, she's amazing at what she does.
Oh, see, and that's beautiful. I know for certain I stumbled across your book on Facebook. I went and followed the link. I found your book
Uh-huh.
on Amazon, and I was like, maybe I should just reach out to her. Like, I know
Right.
my
I'm glad
message
you
was
did. Yeah.
so unsolicited, so left field. I was like,
No,
I
it's
hope she
fine.
don't think,
I mean, believe it or not, this is my first author interview. So
stop it.
it is like I've done like the magazine inserts, but I'm talking about like this direct, the one-on-one like connection like this. This is my first one. No one has ever reached out to me previously about it.
Oh my goodness. See, and that's really for starters, I feel honored. Okay, let's start there. That is really have that's been my goal was for this month of May. I wanted to start interacting with authors in more ways.
Mhm.
I wanted to start reaching out, hearing more about their backstory. I think it's great, when we see
Mhm.
people reading and reviewing like Stephen King and certain authors that have been out here for 15 plus years, but I'm really the most passionate about hearing the stories of authors that maybe are just 10 books in the game or their first book in the game. Like,
Right.
that's what I want to hear from. And I think that's who readers want to hear from more as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's important to not only think about like the greats, like you're saying, like Stephen King and Mary Monroe, but it's important to tap into, the not so popular world and to just understand people's journey and understand that, a book doesn't have to be a New York Times bestseller for it to be a great book. There are a lot of great authors and great books out there.
You said a mouthful with that. I think a lot of times too, as authors, we'll find ourselves obsessing over, did I hit the top 100? Did I hit the top 100?
Right.
And there are some books that are on the top 100, sometimes no shade, but you'd be like, how did this make it out the think tank? So, like you
Right.
said, it does not matter. It really doesn't matter how many reviews you see a book having, what kind of reviews you have. You have to try out new authors. You have to try out new authors, especially this year. I feel
Exactly.
there's so much talent out there right now. I feel like urban fiction has some heavy hitters right now, either coming
Definitely.
up or already on the charts. Urban fiction has taken
Right.
a turn.
Exactly. And if anyone is interested in, finding a publisher where you don't have to worry about, deadlines or pressure, then come over to the BriAsh Media team. So BriAshMedia.com, that's BRIASH media.com. We are accepting new urban fiction authors. So if anyone is interested, just tap in and, submit your first 3 chapters and we'll go from there.
I wish you could see me snapping my fingers because I'm over here snapping and cheering and raising up the roof. I'm just very, very happy for you and your sister on
Thank
all
you.
that you see that you guys have going on right now. Just seeing how much you're juggling with the businesses and with
Mhm.
your schooling, and then also with your books. Like, I'm proud of you and I don't even know you.
Thank
So
you.
I do want to tell you that it might slick be because we have the same name. I just, mine's a little bit when I saw it, I said, I wonder if it's Brianna or if it's Brianna.
Yeah,
So
it's
that's what I was.
Brianna.
Yeah, I'm Brianna. So it's
Okay.
super funny to me. But you have an I and I have a Y. That's the
Oh,
only difference.
okay. Yeah, that's unique.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely different. Than my mom's name is Nicole. So I was like,
Oh,
let me
wow.
really, I gotta reach out to this woman. She seems amazing online. Let me go ahead and have a conversation with her.
Yeah, I've definitely enjoyed this conversation. It's been very refreshing, and I thank you for the ability to tell people about me and just this platform. It's amazing. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I want to thank you for coming on and just allowing us to get to know more about you. I would love to do this again with you next quarter just so I can hear about everything else you done pulled out the bag.
No problem. Well, this was amazing, and yeah, I look forward to talking to you in the future and just update you on everything, and yeah, amazing. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'll be in touch with you soon.
Okay, have a great weekend.
You too. Bye
Okay,
bye.
bye-bye.